Hi, I'm Lisa Pugh,
And I'm Tammy Jackson.
and we are with the Survival Coalition of Wisconsin Disability Organizations. We are here to talk to you about something that's happening in Washington and how it might impact Medicaid and Medicaid funds that come to Wisconsin to help people with disabilities.
So how many people are in Medicaid in Wisconsin? It might be more than you think. There are more than 1 million people, or 1 out of 5 folks who live here, who receive some type of Medicaid-funded support or service. And Medicaid covers a lot of different kinds of people, everyone from pregnant women and babies to children to older adults and people with disabilities and folks who just are lower income. And Medicaid covers a lot of different types of services too. So folks that need to go to the doctor or have surgery or cancer treatments or need personal care to get out of bed in the morning, and a lot of other long-term care supports that help people live in the community and be out of expensive institutions are generally funded by Medicaid dollars.
Some people use Medicaid for employment supports to go to work. There's different types of programs that people use in Wisconsin. In fact, we have 20 different programs that people with disabilities, older adults, and children use. They can be anything from Family Care and Iris, Badger Care for children and families, Katie Beckett, Children's Long-Term Supports.
Medicaid Assistance Purchase Plan for people who are low income but want to work. It's a work incentive program. And anybody who uses a forward health card to either fill their prescriptions or go to the doctor, they're actually paying for those services using Medicaid dollars. The federal government contributes about 60% of the total cost of all of these services and supports that keep people healthy. And the state contributes about 40%. So it's a lot of money for a lot of people for a lot of different services.
And that's really the part that's changing. Congress is using what they're calling a per capita cap to try to change the way that federal monies come to the state. And they're dividing people into different groups, actually 4 different groups.
Yeah, I'm going to give my friend Lisa some post-it notes here. We have 4 different groups that generally use Medicaid. I'm going to try and illustrate how a per capita cap works. So people with disabilities are often in a Medicaid program and using Medicaid services. What a per capita cap would do is say something like, I have a bowl of lifesavers here. Each person with a disability, we're going to assume that we can cover their entire cost of care, whatever they need, with 4 lifesavers per year. So that's one population, and we're saying people with disabilities per individual, 4 lifesavers for each of you. Another population of people who are in Medicaid are kids. And we're going to set a different per capita cap for them. We're going to assume we can cover their costs of care with 3 lifesavers.
We dropped
one. There's still 3 lifesavers. Older adults, perhaps they might need a little bit of more care, so we're going to bump up how many lifesavers we give them and say 4 lifesavers should be enough to cover what you need per year. And finally, we're going to look at other adults who are lower income and say, we think we can cover your cost of care with 2 lifesavers. So we have different populations who all receive different amounts to cover all of the things that they need that are Medicaid funded.
So this bowl represents all of the money coming from the federal government to cover all the per capita caps for those 4 populations for people who live in Wisconsin who qualify for Medicaid. But there's a problem with this because this is all the lifesavers we're going to get, right? So here's kind of an explanation of why that's concerning. Is because here's where that federal cap is for all of the people who need Medicaid in Wisconsin.
And if I put my little bowl of lifesavers on this chart, you can see that there's a little bit of an adjustment and maybe a few more lifesavers that get put into the bowl over time. But overall, the amount of lifesavers that we get from the federal government is pretty constant over time. And you can see that at some point in the future, the amount of lifesavers that we get are going to be far dwarfed by the amount of costs that continue to rise. And prescriptions, the cost of health care, whether you want your personal care worker to get a raise, these are all things that Medicaid has to pay for. So ultimately, if you have the same amount of lifesavers coming in and more costs that are expected of you, this bowl of Lifesavers doesn't go as far as it did over here.
Well, we hope that you've learned something about per capita caps and some of the changes in Washington. Thank you for watching.